This is the Conrad Alert. Civil defense information will be broadcast at 6:40.
West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Y2K, how can we prepare?
Stop a few of their machines and radios. Throw them into darkness for a few hours.
We are fighting for our lives. My family must survive.
For 5 years, 1,000 gallons of gas, air filtration, water filtration.
Coming at you lot from, try that again, coming at you from the frozen tundra that is East Central Alberta, Canada. Streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble, and Odyssey. Welcome back to the workshop where we create community, find freedom, promote preparedness, and share success. I am Toolman Tim. Today is June the 30th, 2024, and this is episode 460 of Workshop Radio. How is everyone out there? I have an extra special guest this evening. How are you, beautiful?
Good.
Good. You have not been on, I don't know, how long has it been? Maybe we did one, didn't we? Just at the tail end of the epic road trip?
Yeah, in Tennessee there.
Yes, yeah. But this is the first, is this the first one since we come back in the new studio, or back in the studio, hey?
I want to say yes.
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it. I've been begging and pleading and bribing and just downright on my hands and knees asking you to come on the show, and you're like, I'm too good for that now. So that's not true at all. It's good to have you back. Busy. Holy shit, have we ever been busy? So let's see who we got in here so far. I see Digger. I see Off-Grid Ping. Welcome, our neighbor from Ruby Lane. Byron Roberts, great to see you. Pippin, he said smile and just say yes. We are also over on the Shorts feed, so anybody over there, we're going to hopefully get some of the craziest and freakiest comments we can get from them. Who knows? You never know. Sometimes you get 1,000 people. Sometimes you get -2. So we're doing all right. So one step closer. Just uploaded, for the record, the Mexican candies to Patreon for now. It'll come up on the regular feed here in a couple of weeks. Hello, Empty, over on the Shorts feed. I love that pink hand standing up in the air. Good to see you. So Mrs. Cook, how have you been?
Not too bad.
Yeah? Busy?
Very busy.
Anything? I should throw it out here before we go too far, guys. Feel free to throw it. This is just a kind of an off the cuff. We spent about 5 minutes putting together a few talking points. But this is going to be a laid back, like our old Saturday Night Lives or Friday Night Lives that we did. So any talking point that you want, any questions that you have, throw them out in the comments and we will cover them. So what has been big with you lately, Mrs. Cook?
Well, just the daycares.
Yes.
They consume my entire life. So
Pippin says, y'all seem to be kicking butt with the daycares and not very bad. Absolutely. Very not bad. Sorry.
Yeah.
So we have, you know what? I'm sure people have heard it, but let's give it a quick little overview of where we started and how things are going today. Hey?
Okay.
Do you want to start? Or do you want me to fill them in, or you want to, where did we start? How did our entrepreneurial journey start? Back a ways, eh?
Yeah, back when I guess it started when Amy was pregnant with Adam.
Right. And Amy's your sister.
Yeah, and Adam will be 5 this July.
Right. So we're looking at over 5 years at this point.
Yes.
From when
but not since we opened.
No, but since we started, right?
Yeah.
Or since the first time you kicked around saying there is no way in hell either of us are going back to that damn hospital.
I think Adam was he was about 6 months old, and Amy started panicking because she knew she only had 6 months left on her mat leave.
Because in Canada,
you get 52 weeks.
Yeah, most ladies get a full year of mat leave.
Unless, of course, you take a lower amount, then you get 18 months.
Right, that's new now too, or fairly new.
Fairly, a couple years old, but she didn't do that, so she only had a year. And I think he was about 6 months. She started panicking about going back to work. So
you know what's funny? Both times, the multiple times that we started our own business, it was all because we didn't want to go back and work for somebody else, eh? Yeah. All Seasons Maintenance was the same way, wasn't it?
It was. Well, and I was off on short-term disability too, because I had twisted up my knee. So, and I had to have surgery and everything. So
I'm not laughing because you hurt yourself, But I'm laughing because I had a mental image of the security camera footage from this winter. Do you remember?
Yeah, when I ate shit. When I hit the ground.
Literally ate shit.
Yeah, I did.
Did you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I slipped and I fell and I was carrying my checkbook. I had my arms full like this, so I couldn't even put my arms out to brace myself. And the checkbook came up and slapped me in the face. And I frigged up my knee again. So, but I'm not having any more surgery on it. I refuse. But.
She shows up in Lloyd where we were working.
Yeah.
And no, I guess whatever it was. And she's hurting big time.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, I took a nasty spill in front of the daycare. And I'm like, well, matter of fact, I can probably put that footage up on my phone right now because we're sitting there laughing our asses off, eating skip the dishes.
Yeah, but I sent it to everybody because every time I watched, I just took to laugh. And I was like, because I legit ate shit. I just
babe, I was scared.
Yeah, I hit so hard. Yeah.
Chris Dixon says we call that a yard sale when you skip and all your shit goes flying. Yeah.
It didn't go flying though. I held on to it and the checkbook came up and it hit me in the face. It's one of those leather bound books and it cracked me in the face because I didn't want to. Basically, everything I was carrying were file folders with all my papers and everything. So if they went flying, I would have been like extremely pissed.
And I bring that up because your knee was actually feeling pretty good.
It was, and
after
now it's
3
all
or 4
messed
years
up
of the daycare, and now it's
all messed up again. So yeah.
I'm thinking we're talking about maybe doing home surgery. Hey, me doing some. Yeah, no, not at all.
No,
yeah.
I'll just I'll buy myself a fancy brace, and then there we go.
Yeah, well, poor honey, because you were doing. Yeah, over the years you've taken some fun falls, haven't you? That
one pretty much took the cake.
Trying to think of the ones that come to mind are when you were like 140 weeks pregnant with the twins. Do you remember? And you went down the stairs. We got up in the morning and we didn't have much for.
Yeah, but I wasn't that far away.
No, but I was scared because we knew we were having twins. And what was it?
I was rushing out the door and I was wearing my Crocs.
Yep. And Max wants to know what we're talking about. Right now, we're talking about how many different falls Mrs. Cook has had over the years, but we're going to eventually bring it back around to our business journey. But so there was a little bit of frost on those stairs, wasn't there?
Yeah.
And straight down you went.
Mm-hmm.
And I scared to death, and you were okay.
Yeah, it was okay. Yeah. It didn't hurt. It was wood.
And then one time, you're getting out of the truck in the Walmart parking lot.
Oh, I thought I broke my ankle.
Yep.
Yeah, that was.
And I said, what did I say? I said, honey, be careful. It's slippery out there. And you go, yep, I know. And what happened?
Oh, yeah. Ate shit again.
Ate shit straight down.
Yeah.
So, but you're okay.
Yeah.
Fine. You're good. Yeah. So back to the daycare. We opened it up. Things were quiet.
They were quiet. Well, it's because we were stupid. We weren't really stupid about it, but hindsight, if I could go back in time, I would have held off a little bit longer because we opened, because there was the talk.
Oh yeah.
There was all that COVID chatter going around and stuff, but never in a million years you think they're going to shut everything down. Right. Cause in our lifetime, that's never happened.
Never.
Right? So, and you hear all the chats and the chatter and you're just like, well, whatever. It's just, people being stupid and the government being stupid or whatever. But we opened March 1st. 2020, and then March 31st, everything shut down.
Everything went insane.
So, but we were only shut down for a month because then they allowed daycares to open back up again.
Because they realized, holy shit, what are the people who are supposedly essential? Unfortunately, you know how it is. But keep going.
But we were only shut down for the month, and we were able to open back up, and I think we were open for another 6 to 8 weeks, and then COVID came through.
Yeah. You're right. Because everybody started getting sick occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
And
we had 2 little guys that brought COVID in, and then we had to shut down again. And I think we were shut down for another 8 weeks, I think.
It was crazy.
Yeah. Because everybody was sick. And of course, when you work in it, when your teachers are sick, you can't open because you have to have somebody there to watch the kids. And, then when we opened back up, the kids that we had prior to that, some of them didn't come back.
Yeah,
because
that's right. I forgot about that.
Because then they were home with mom because their mom was working from home at that time and everything. And So we only had,
Well, there were legit days where we had 0 kids.
yeah, or just one.
Yeah.
Maybe 2.
Yeah.
And
With
then,
a staff at that point of 4 or 5, right?
yeah, but it was all family.
I know it was family.
It was all family.
But,
So it's not like we had to pay anybody, right?
well, some of them needed some money. We were doing our best, right? But
well, we were doing our best, but like we weren't making any money.
Oh no,
and then
we were certainly losing money.
But we had the COVID money too, because we were able to claim because we weren't making.
Yeah.
So that was basically what got us through that. And then September things started picking up a little bit.
But what I will say, what was good is we were smart enough, or not smart enough, but we kind of worked our way into a spot where we didn't have because, well, to be honest, this is the type of thing you look for. We rented from Amy's mother-in-law.
Yeah,
Kathy. And she told us that we didn't have to pay rent until the business started going along, because it was an unused space for her. I mean, it was
she's like the sweetest lady in the entire world.
Yeah.
Like, she's so sweet.
And it was pretty cool to get to show her what we've turned it into the other night.
It was really actually exciting to have her up there. I'm glad they came up, but and then Christmas time we decided we were going to have that's our infamous pizza party.
Yeah.
And then we were gonna and Amy and I were adamant we were going to shut it down because we were just done.
You were discouraged.
Well, and like you just get beaten down, right? And then they introduced the affordability grants and all that, and that started in January. And then
people started going back to work too.
Yeah, that's what helped us when people started going back to work, because they realized that COVID is bullshit.
Oh, absolutely.
So, not saying the sickness is bullshit, but how they handled it was bullshit.
Total and utter bullshit.
Yeah,
absolutely.
it could have been dealt with a lot better than what it was. And then we started getting enrollment, and then things started picking up.
Yeah, but it's still, so from there,
Yeah.
we built that one to how many employees, how many kids?
Right now, I think we're sitting at about 40 kids in Provost.
Okay.
Give or take.
Depending on the day.
Yeah. And there is 9 employees.
Yes.
And most of them are, they're still family. Like, there's just Amy, Grace, and Linda and Kathy.
Yeah.
But they're
we do have some employees who aren't family there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we do. And then of course the government implemented the space creation grant,
which was basically a licensed open daycares. Don't get me wrong.
It's a lot of hoops, it's a lot of paperwork, and it's a lot of ass kissing.
This woman right here is the absolute queen of filling out paperwork, filling out applications, and getting grants. It has been one thing after another.
I think they just give it to me because they get tired of hearing from me.
Absolutely. Well, that's what. Okay, so somebody asked me, or I don't know, maybe I mentioned it at Self-Reliance Festival, but I said your literal superpower is persistence.
Oh yeah, I'm very persistent.
I've never met someone who doesn't take no for an answer.
Well, and that's like even for the space creation grant, they give you a lump sum up front, and then they give you the other payments based on quarterly reports.
Right.
And we're basically up, running, maxed. And they're telling me I can't get my last quarterly report until September.
Right.
So I messaged them and I said, I told him that wasn't acceptable.
I always love when you say that.
and I think he's used to be by now, because he did message back and he did say that he was expecting an email from me that basically said that. So he's going to talk to his manager and because I want that last quarterly report payment, because once that payment is finalized and then that grant is fully satisfied,
right,
then I can apply for another grant.
Right. Because you're
only allowed to have one at a time.
Right. Off-grid ping says the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Now here's the deal. We could 100% expand the daycare tomorrow with our own funding, finances, and opportunity.
But why?
But if the government is going to give out some of our stolen tax dollars back to us, hell yeah, we're going to take it.
And I don't have to pay it back.
And there's no strings attached. The
you
only
just
string,
have to follow the rules.
The only really the only string attached to the grant is that you keep an operating daycare facility going.
Exactly.
You know?
And you have to do what you're going to do with it. Like do what you say you're going to do with it.
Right.
So like if they give you X amount of dollars for 80 spaces,
right, you have to
you better open 80 spaces or you're going to get in trouble.
And you want to believe we did, you know? So all that to being said, we had our very first joint staff meeting the other night.
We did.
And the fun part, and most of you guys have heard this part, but in the middle of all of it, we decided we got offered, well, you got offered a third daycare at, you know, kind of, and we bought that one. So that one we actually took possession of January 1st this year, right? Was it? Or?
January, that's set. That's what we call Busy Bees South.
So we got Busy Bees South, Busy Bees North, and Busy Bees Provost.
Yep.
We had the staff meeting, which was cool. So altogether, how many kids right now between the three locations?
Between the three locations,
160?
170.
170 kids, 45 employees.
Yes.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I was saying the other night, I don't know. That just blows me out of the friggin' water.
What's blowing me out of the water is the picture.
Oh my goodness.
I think I've caught myself looking at that picture about maybe 20 or 30 times because I can't, and that's what I talked about at SRF is what I'm dealing with is that imposter syndrome.
Sure.
And I think I love that picture.
Helps.
I loved it, but I think it made it worse.
Did it really?
I think it did. It kind of gave me because I just can't get over that imposter syndrome that I'm having. And when I see the picture, I keep looking at the picture and I was like, oh shit, that is me in the pit. You know, it's kind of like you dissociate from it or something. It's
like the picture in Back to the Future as Marty's brothers and sisters start disappearing.
No, well, you like your brain dissociates from it. And I keep looking at it and I'm like, okay, no. That is me. Those are my girls and guy, Brandon.
Yeah.
But those are, but I just like, I know it and I can say it, but it won't download.
It will come.
I've been dealing with this for over a year now. And the staff meeting and the picture have made it worse again. so I'm trying really hard but the imposter syndrome is really, really bad.
One step closer, Jeremy says Becky needs a sorry jar, but instead of a swear jar. Every time you get down on yourself, or I'm gonna put in there every time you feel the imposter syndrome.
Oh, geez.
Put in $1.
Oh yeah. Well, I think I'll be broke putting the money in there.
Yep. And there's Gracie, our daughter. She works at the Provost location. She says I keep looking at it too because I was on my tippy toes trying to see over everybody. We did good getting everybody in there, though. We did really good. It was awesome, yeah.
Yeah, but that imposter syndrome is a nasty little thing, and it's.
I was thinking the other night, and you did an awesome job at the staff meeting. I was really proud of you, but it is a blessing to know that we have created 45 people depend on us for their livelihood. But that's also not a stressful thing.
No, it's scary.
It is. It's something you want to make sure that you,
because I don't want to let them down.
No, never.
And I don't know if any of them ever watch any of your lives or anything, but I think the world of every single one of them. And it's just like I refer to the kids at the daycare as my kids. I refer to them as my girls because they're hardworking and they're caring and it has been a lot of road bumps, but they're great people and girls. Sorry, the director at North we have a director. His name's Brandon. Yep. So I can't really call him a girl because he's married and he has a kid.
Yeah, he is.
So I can't.
He's as far from a girl as you can get.
Yeah, so I can't call him a girl, but I don't know if you ever watched. He's like, Brandon's my girl.
Yeah.
So, but
he's a good dude.
But I don't want to let them down.
No.
And I try to make sure that I do everything I can for them.
And I see the day when we have over 100 employees.
I think that'll be even more scary.
I know, but it's coming. I mean, I know it will. Depending on how far. I mean, long range. We talk about this a bit, but you and I kind of by the time 5 more years, right?
I'm hoping.
I mean, it's not like we're walking away from it, but our plan is that our growth will be done by then so that you and I can travel and semi-retire. And
I'm starting to do that now.
Oh, I guess you are.
Because I much rather I much rather go to the center and hang out with the girls and, you know, go around and you know, talk to the kids or help them clean or I'd rather do stuff like that than what Tessa's doing.
Right.
Like, but so, I love the grant part of it and everything, but I don't like sitting at a computer all day.
So talk about the importance in this instance of a Tessa and who Tessa is, why I talked you into hiring somebody, and how that has completely changed your life.
Well, Tessa is, Tessa's, I kind of consider her one of my best friends now because her and I, we talk all the time, but
literally,
but yeah, we do, but she's great. Her little guy has been with us for almost 3 years, and I cornered her one day and I just said to her, I said, so I heard you're an accountant. And I just kind of, and I was looking for an accountant because at this time in the process, we had developed our nonprofit and we switched over to a corporation. And I know how to do taxes. I know how to do all, like I've taught myself over the years. I know how to do all that stuff. But when it comes to corporation and government, I've never had the opportunity to teach myself that. So I'm kind of lost at that.
We were very quickly getting in over our heads.
Oh yeah, and I'll admit that too, because I'm self-taught with personal and sole proprietor, and I'm
taxes.
Yep. I've been doing that. But when you get into corporation and GSTs and nonprofits, and I have no idea about any of that, and I don't know.
And we'd have dug ourselves into a bad hole if we'd.
Well, I think I would have found somebody.
Oh, sure, but I mean, if we kept trying to do it ourselves.
Oh no, and I haven't, and I didn't even attempt.
No,
but like if Tessa had said no, I would have probably maybe just hired an accountant for the year, or like just for that one time of the year to do our taxes.
Yeah.
But but by time I had talked to Tessa, I was at my maximum mentally.
Oh, because you might even have been a little beyond it, poor thing. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but it was true. And
it was.
And why was that?
Well, because it's out of my comfort zone. It's not something I've never, like I've managed before. I've done office management. I've done all that. But when it comes to remittances and payroll, like when you work for companies, their HR department does all that. So you don't need to worry about any of that. But when it came down to all that kind of stuff, like I could do it, but I wasn't sure if I was doing it correctly.
100%, yeah.
So,
and we hit 10 employees, or roughly 10 at Provost, and that was about the limit that you could juggle.
Yes, it is, because not only was I doing all the paperwork and everything like that, but then I was doing referee work, and I was doing
interpersonal
stuff, and I was just
and parents and grants, and on top of all of that, we were looking to expand to another city. And then I was taking you all over the countryside to these events on top of it. And you're getting burnt out, weren't you?
I was burnt out. And I know Amy tried to help as much as she could, but she'll be the first one to tell anybody she's not techie at all.
Right.
And I know that, like, and I would never put that type of a job on someone who's not a techie person.
100%. Right.
Because it would just, like, I would just have to go behind and fix everything. Right. So it was just, but when Tessa said yes to taking the job, I like when the first couple weeks I just kept telling her, I'm like, you can run if you want, like I don't think she quite knew what she was getting into, but then she seen how much I had done, so I think she was a little bit okay with it. But then she was like, well, I need all your receipts, and then I started handing her receipts in manila envelopes that were
but the
receipts were all crumpled up and they're all stuffed in there, and then I had freezer Ziploc bags with receipts stuffed in there, and I was just passing them all to her. So here you go, and she just kind of looked at me and I'm like, are you gonna run? and she's been with us since before Christmas.
We hired her just as an accountant.
Yes.
And we really just hired her as an accountant for the first daycare for a minute.
Yes.
And then we decided to expand to another location, and then we bought a third location. And so you're like, hey, could you do all three?
Yeah, but the thing is, she never looks at me and tells me I'm crazy.
Never. She
Never.
is on.
She actually sent me a link
Sure
yesterday about a new building in another city for opening another daycare.
Right.
So she's just as crazy as I am, and that's what makes it exciting because our crazies match.
Right.
So we're not totally.
What B-Man J says here, your story motivated her, and I like a couple of things. Number one, the story's friggin' empowering. Yep. But number two, once people are around us for a little while, they realize, more so with you, that when you say something, you do it.
And I think that helps a lot too, dealing with anybody, because like even Carrie, my landlord in Lloyd, like when I say I'm going to do something, I do it.
Right.
Because I don't like it when people spit out what they're going to do, and then they don't have any intentions of doing it. They're just like, they think they're just doing what people want to hear.
The realtor, for instance.
Yeah.
So
I think he thought I was batshit crazy.
Sure he did, because we went up one day. Actually, you and Amy went up first.
Yeah.
When we were first ready to expand. And I mean, we really, we had no business expanding. I mean, we did, but we were a tiny little daycare of, 9 or 10 employees in Provost. And we called up and we're like, hey, find us something with 2,500 square feet or 5,000. Yeah. We need something that is zoned for a daycare that we can turn into a daycare. And, the day I met with him, I got this vibe that he wasn't super interested. No. And I told Becky that. I was like, he doesn't think we're serious.
But you know why, though? It's because the space creation grant had brought out a lot of people from
tire kickers. Yeah.
And he had already shown a couple of buildings to different people that were tire kickers and had no intention. And I did, when I first met Chris, I told him, I'm like, listen, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah. And I looked at him.
I don't think he believed me.
But I looked at him the day I was there too. And I said, dude, I understand you've been jerked around by a few other people, but you need to understand that when we say we're doing this, we're doing it.
Yep.
And you just need to find us a business. And I think, or a building. And I think as time went on, he got a lot, he understood because he knew.
Yep.
Because we went through
4
buildings and some pretty disheartening situations, but now we got the perfect situation, right?
Exactly. So, and then when I went up to Carrie the other day and I told him, I said, listen, who's the landlord of North?
Yeah.
And I said, I want the upstairs. He didn't even blink an eye. And he goes, well, let me see what I can do for you, because he knows I'm going to do it.
Right. And we even had discussions of purchasing the building,
which I think I'm going to hold off for another year or so.
Oh, sure. Yeah. But
he knows I'm going to go upstairs.
Yep.
Like I told him, I said, that's what I want to do. And I'm not lying about that. So,
no, because we're already there. I mean, we're at capacity. Yep. We've knocked walls out. I mean, each wall we've knocked out probably makes us and saves us in the ballpark of $50,000.
Yeah. Because we don't have to have as many employees.
One less employee and a few extra kids for each wall we knock out. Yeah. Because one room with twice the square footage allows us more kids than 2 rooms with half the square footage each. It's weird.
And my licensing officer knows it too.
Yep.
Suzanne, she's
the one who suggested the walls, right?
Well, she suggested the walls, but she asked when she came up for the one incident we had. She asked me when we were moving upstairs.
Yeah.
So she knows
she's finally, because she was always, don't grow too fast.
Yeah.
Don't get carried away with yourself. And we're like, okay.
Yeah. And then when she came up, she goes, so when you moving upstairs? I'm like, don't worry, probably by October.
So I think one of the coolest things was the other day when you came home from Lloyd, and that's where Busy Bees North, that's our biggest location is. Mama comes home and she's like, I didn't really have anything to do.
No, I didn't.
She went in. The daycare was running itself completely smooth. Everybody was in the place they were supposed to be. Kids were where they were supposed to be. Jobs were done, and you had nothing to do.
Yep.
That's when we knew that that's when we knew we had to expand again because
I'm getting bored.
Right. That is exactly it, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, but you know what though? If I can hire good employees so that I can expand and I don't have to keep running back to find out what they're doing or to babysit them. How
long has it been since you stepped foot in Busy Bees South, the one we bought in January?
Well, I said that at the staff meeting. We went to Tennessee in March.
Yep.
And I was there about 4 days before we left for Tennessee. And I stopped by there last week.
So you went from sometime in March till sometime in June, and never stepped foot in one of your locations.
No, and when I went in there last week, Ritu comes out and she's like, "What are you doing here?"
And she's the operator.
She's the director.
And you didn't not stop in there out of neglect. There was just zero need, because we have a self-contained business there that runs, that we have. Yeah.
And Ritu, and I don't need to. I trust Ritu, and she knows what she's doing. She runs that place like a watertight ship. She knows what she's doing. And like, if she needed me, I would be there immediately.
Oh, 100%.
But I hear from her maybe once a week.
Yep.
And that's just like every once in a while she'll send me a message, be like, just let you know I'm still alive and the building hasn't burnt down and everything's good, because like I don't need to go there and babysit them. They're all adults and they're all doing what they're supposed to do. They're all doing their job, and that's all I can ask for.
So from there, in the north one, what day did that open?
April 1st.
April 1st. April
2nd or something like that, yeah.
April 1st or April, May, not even June, 3 months we've been open. That opened while you were in Tennessee.
Technically July.
Right. Yeah. So, but 3 months, the month of April, month of May, month of June, 3 months. And it's already at the point where it's running really smooth. Yeah. And like to the point where you don't need to be there.
No, it still has its hiccups and it still has its growing pains, but
we
have a good crew.
Yeah. And my God, so you hired 2 Gen Z directors to run the place.
Yes.
Would they be Gen Z?
Yeah, they would be.
Yeah, they would be. Yeah, they're too young to be millennial. So
yeah.
And you gave me now that I've taken a bigger portion of the managerial role there with you, because it just needs to be. I took it upon myself to start a management training course or leadership training course with them. It's been going good. Every 2 weeks on Friday, we sit down and cover something new. So this week we talked about setting SMART goals, and you guys have probably heard about that. But for me, it's been a challenge learning how to interact with Gen Z.
Well, and neither one of them have ever been in a management position before.
Ever.
So, but you know what? Again, it's been some growing pains, but they're good. And I don't ever.
And it's funny because we say that our employees are our family. Well, in one instance, that's pretty much the truth at this point, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
What do I mean by that?
Oh, Carly.
I'm sure we can say that, can't we? Yeah, well, I'm going to, because our oldest son, Mackenzie, hit it off with Carly, who is our director in Lloyd. And I know you're like, oh boy, mixing more family with work. But anyway.
She's really, really sweet.
Yeah.
I adore Carly.
We think the world of her. And now she's, at least for the interim, really part of our family.
She is, yeah.
We went out last night to our favorite restaurant, and there was 13 of us. And we had 3 of our kids had birthdays, or kind of. So, really. Yeah. So
Kurt's our kid.
Grace, if you're still in here listening, her birthday's tomorrow. So happy birthday, sweetie. She's our middle daughter.
Yes, she'll be 23. 23.
Is that it? I thought she was old. Okay, that's good. I'm glad I get, Olivia, her birthday's on the 13th of July.
Yeah, July 13th.
And she'll be 25.
Yep.
And her husband, Curtis, who is
our son-in-law.
Our son-in-law. Yep. He's my partner in crime. He's taken over a lot of the property management for me and doing all the other stuff that I can. His birthday is today. Happy birthday, Kurt.
And he's 27?
20, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, same age as Mac. So he's 27. Yeah. Mac will be 27 in November.
Yeah. So we went out to our favorite. This would be, guys, it's the Fireside Grill that we talked about a few times in the past. And our good buddy, Chris, runs that. And I would say it's the closest to a slice of anarchy you can get around here. Isn't it?
No, I appreciate Chris and Bev a lot. They're real people. They're like, what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
No bullshit there. And they're hard workers too. Like, they're always there.
They are self-made entrepreneurs. Yep. The dude is an incredible chef. He's got a beard down to his, I don't know, he's got a good bushy beard.
Yep.
He's as big as I am, at least, probably, maybe, depending on the month, we go back and forth. He wears pink nail polish, and the dude is into spicy foods.
Yep.
And he'll come out and sit and talk to you for hours if he has time.
And I appreciate him. He's fun.
But you guys will appreciate this. We go in there last night, And I look on the wall and I see a new thing framed and hung up there. And it's his rebate check from the Alberta government for the fine he had to pay for staying open illegally during COVID.
Yep. They had to refund it.
They did, because they turned out that what they did was completely in the wrong, and they give him his money back. He fought with it, stayed open the whole time. They ended up, he had to go to court over it. His original fine was like $2,000. They cut it back to $600. He finally paid the $600, and they sent it back to him in the mail because he was in the right all along.
So I don't even think he cashed it. I think he just put it in a frame.
I think so, yeah.
Yep, you just put it in a frame and left it there so everyone can see it.
It was awesome. So that just made my, he's the type of guy that, there's times he'll have anti-political flags up in there. Loves 80s and early 90s hard rock and heavy metal, but he just cooks like nobody's business. So anyway, 13 of us down there, big round table.
It was fun.
Yeah, lots of beer involved.
Yeah,
appetizers, French fries, hamburgers, and it was. So anybody who's within an hour or two's drive, it's worth going. A little hole in the wall place that probably only seats 40 at the most.
I think he was on that You Gotta Eat Here, wasn't he?
Or tried to get on there. He should have. Yeah. His stuff was good, but so what do we got? What do we got coming up now, Mrs. Cook? So we're the daycare's been a hell of a time. We're kind of in flux because B-Man J actually we should look at these comments. I skipped over, but so B-Man asked if we're home now. We've been home for a bit, but I'm not sure which home's relative for us at this point because we spend almost as much time in hotels still as we do home.
Oh yeah,
but
lately.
we've been home this whole week. We spent the weekend in a hotel last weekend working on.
Yeah, because we were renovating.
Yeah, that was a good weekend. That was a hell of a time. But yes, we're home for right now. We're probably leaving on it. Well, depending on if the WestJet strike fixes up or not, we're leaving on a jet plane on Friday.
Saturday.
Saturday.
We're supposed to fly out Saturday to Nova Scotia to see Tim's family.
Yeah. So the plan is, if it goes well, and if because our airline that we fly with, and there's only really 2 airlines in Canada, our airline, the mechanics decide they need more money.
Well, they should be paid more money because WestJet got a huge amount of money from the government.
Oh, sure.
As a bailout, which they seem to get like every couple of years, they need to pay their mechanics more money than their CEOs. And I agree with that. Because
you definitely don't want your mechanics on strike and flights in the air. So as of right now, they've been canceling flights a day or 2 in advance. So we're going to decide by Wednesday. At the moment, it kind of looks pretty bad.
It does. Well, and that's the thing, like we were saying earlier, it makes me nervous about us being able to get out there, and then all of a sudden we can't get back, and it's not like we can just hop in a car and be home the next day because it's like
a minimum 5-day drive.
It's a 5-day drive. Yeah.
6-hour flight or a 5-day drive. Yeah.
So
just want to shout out to Mike's Homestead over on the vertical feed. Good to have you, Mike.
So it's kind of nerve-wracking a little bit. I'm a little nerve-wracked about it. So it
sucks because here's the thing. For this will be the 3rd summer in a row that our girls have gone out to see Nana and Papa.
And that's what I'm worried about too, is them getting out there and them not being able to get back.
Because we can't go out there and get stranded right now. We have too much on the go. So we have to make the choice. So here's how it's supposed to work. We're going out for a week. So we're flying out with the girls. Then after a week, they're staying another week with Mom and Dad while we fly back. And then at the end of the 2nd week, they're flying back with my sister and nephew. And they were supposed to come out here for their very first flight, their very first trip outside of Nova Scotia.
We got to worry about them getting stranded out here. But where your sister works from home, she's got to be able to get home.
She has her own day home, which is like maximum 6-kid daycare.
I think so.
Yeah.
But that's still nerve-wracking too, because what happens if she gets stranded out here?
Right. Exactly.
So I don't know.
We're this whole thing is a bit of a. Yeah, we're just a little on, not edge, but we're just,
I'm on edge about it because there was I was reading some comments and there was a strike in January and there was somebody got stranded for 5 days.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem like a long time, but that is a long time if you have to be back. And, and of course, like we're leaving the dogs and we have the house and the daycares we can't be there for that long.
When we were out of town for the staff meeting, our dogs all got out.
We're still missing.
They pushed one of the gates open that we didn't think they could push open, and one of our dogs has been missing. This will be 3 nights now.
I know. I'm
little Miss Matilda, and we're kind of upset about it. So
yeah, I think someone picked her up.
we're hoping. I mean, she has a microchip in her and she has a collar, both with our information. So
I'm hoping maybe she lost her collar and they're just waiting for the vet to open so that they can take her in and have her scanned for her chip. I don't know.
I've been looking.
I've put a huge reward online and everything, and I don't know what to do.
We've been looking. I've been looking at GPS collars for our dogs, but they're too heavy and bulky for our dog size. Like,
yeah, well, Matilda's only 7 pounds.
Right, they're just too big. So, and AirPods are, or not AirTags.
They're still too big.
They would work for them, but the problem is that, I mean, they're okay, but they run off Bluetooth and they have to be within distance of somebody with an iPhone. So it's better than nothing. Maybe we should look at it, but
yeah, I have a whole bunch of AirTags. We just gotta get the collars.
Yeah, so it's something to look at anyway. But
yeah, so I'm hoping somebody just picked her up, and maybe they don't have Facebook, or maybe she lost her collar, or because she's a sweet dog, but she's not the friendliest.
Oh no,
one out of our group.
She's probably the meanest,
and she bites and she
nips it with strangers if they approach. So
yeah, and so I can't really see anybody picking her up and thinking, oh, this is a lovely dog, because I think she's going to bite their face. So
she's a sweetheart. I love her. We're going to build a second. Like a second
security gate or whatever.
Like it's going to be step back. It's going to be taller with a heavier door, so it gives us redundancy, so the dogs can't get out, and more privacy to keep eyes out of our area and stuff.
Yeah, it's just frustrating because I don't know where she is.
No, we miss her. Much as we bitched about her being an annoying dog, because in a good way.
Yeah, but I don't know. In our town, it's not that big.
Nope.
So I don't. That's why I'm thinking someone picked her up.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping. So we're maybe an old person that doesn't have Facebook or something, and
And that's why she has a collar.
Yeah, I know. We'll figure it out.
That's why I'm thinking maybe she lost her collar.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess we'll see. So the other day we were at Home Depot and parked in the parking lot, and I see a dude. Kind of reminded me a little bit of when we first got started. Yep. So I was looking back the other day, and do you remember that night that you're like, honey, I found you a trailer. You got to go get it.
Yeah. From the guy up in Lloyd.
No, not Lloyd. No, the first one.
Oh,
do you remember the first one? It was in Castor.
Oh, that wood one?
Oh, my God. Yeah. So it was about an hour and 45, hour and a half, I guess, probably, by the time I got to the guy's place. And I had to go after work. And it was an old truck body trailer that the body had completely, they built it with wood, and it had rotted right out. And I headed down there in the winter, picked it up after dark, got home. I was like, well after 10 o'clock. I can't remember. And it was not much. It was like $300. We could never really get it plated properly, but we just put a plate on it and called it good. So I rebuilt the thing from scratch, pulled everything off, ground the whole thing down, grinded, whatever the past tense of that is, give it a whole new paint job, all new wiring, all LED lights, a new receiver. By the time it was done, I probably spent as much as it would, but we just didn't have a lot of money, so I did it at piecemeal. And I remember thinking, afterwards, I was like, man, if I showed up with that, at least people know I'm trying, but it looked a little bit sketch, and that was fun, but it worked, right? It worked great. We used it for dump runs. So we're in Home Depot, and I get out of the truck, and I see this little homemade truck box cover, all made out of chipboard and plywood. And I noticed a solar panel on the top. And at first
I did notice the solar panel.
Yeah. And I was like, that's pretty ingenious. You can tell these dudes or the dude is trying to make good with what he's doing, just build with what he has. So I chatted with him for a minute, and we get talking for quite a while. And he's like, yeah, we're looking. Like, you could tell the guys were hungry for work. And I was like, okay, well, what do you, and so he gave me his flyer, and I said, yeah, I'll be in contact with you in a few days. We got a job we might want you to do. So then later on that day, I go into the store, into Home Depot for some supplies, and another guy in there strikes up a conversation with me. And he's like, were you talking to my uncle today? And I was like, yeah, I was. He goes, well, it's our business. I'm the nephew, he's the uncle, and we run this, for lack of a better term, handyman business. Reminded me just of what we were doing, And I said, yeah, and it meant the world to me because he remembered and he thought. And so anyway, we called them up and sent them over, got them set up. So we have the south location. The play area is dilapidated, right?
Oh, yeah, it's really bad.
Like horrible. We'll give you a quick little overview, but it's 2 levels. So you come out the back door and you got a cement level with
Yep.
pavement, right? And then go back probably 10 feet, and it's about a 4 foot up, 3 feet maybe,
Give or take.
Yeah, it's about a 3 foot rise. It's just a dirt hill.
Yeah, but it's like it's not like a nice hill. It's
No,
like really steep.
really steep.
Yeah.
So, and it's supposed to be grass up top, but when you have 30, 40 kids in an area that big, that doesn't happen. We know that from Provost, right?
Yeah.
So first thing we needed was the whole play area to be washed down because there was mud everywhere.
Yeah.
So we hired them this weekend. They give us a price. We hired them this weekend to do that. And we rented them a pressure washer, and they came in and did all the work. And they just sent me 54 pictures before we went live.
Yeah, I haven't seen them yet, but I'm sure it's a good job.
Really proud of them. And then step number 2, they're going to dig out the dirt. They're going to put in a retaining wall and stairs.
Yep.
And then what that'll do is contain any more mud from coming down. So that's going to make it look nicer. It's going to make it safer. And then phase number 3, I guess, is we're going to level out the dirt. We're going to put sand down, and then we're going to put outdoor carpet like AstroTurf on top of it.
Yep.
And when we went over, the girls at the daycare, they didn't. Most of them knew me, but they didn't know the other guys. And they're like, "Who is that? What's going on?" And when I told them, they were so ecstatic, weren't they?
Well, because in the winter, especially this winter, for the first 2.5 months, we did not have very cold days.
Right.
We had a little bit of snow, but it was just enough snow that we would get it, and then it would melt a little bit, and that backyard just turns into a mud pile. And the kids go out, and they're coming in, and they're just head to toe mud.
Mm-hmm.
And then the teachers have to explain to the parents why
they're covered in mud.
Why they're covered in mud, and then their snowsuits are getting stained, and and there's dry mud all over the floor, and it was becoming a headache.
It sure was. And we ran into that in Provost. So what we did there was we built 2x6 decks on ground. The whole friggin' play area.
The whole area. Except for that one area where you got to build the ramp.
A ramp, yep. But on top of that, we built the entire thing into decks and then put indoor outdoor carpet on top of that. Mm-hmm. So that's what we're handed, because apparently I didn't know this, but apparently there's been a few parents asking about it because it's getting kind of dilapidated.
Oh yeah, it's getting really bad. And they were so excited. And like I told them, it's going to take a couple of weeks, but it's going to get done.
Yeah. Well, maybe even more than a couple of weeks, right?
Well, yeah, because they can only do it on the weekends.
Yeah.
Because like you can't do that kind of stuff with all kinds of kids around. Right?
No, you can't. So they're coming in. It's a pretty cool multi-phase project, and we kind of wanted, like, as much as I was excited to support these guys, I wanted to make sure they did the work. So I'm like, let's break it up into 3 stages and see how they do with the first one.
Yeah.
And then we'll let them do number 2, and they're the type of guys that they're just like I was when I started. They're going to go in there. There's going to be no skid steer or anything. They're going to do all the work by hand with shovels. And that's exactly how I started too. Yeah, they are. But I don't care. Like, to me, that just makes me, I love seeing that. And that's what's kind of cool when you have a big business like this, is you can extend or expand your labor by being able to, to spend, so that I don't know how to put it, but the economy, right? So that's value for value exchange, right? And when you either can spend your time or spend your money. And at this point, now that we have the business up and running, it's nice to be able to spend money to expand our time, right? Because we wanted to do. Sorry, go ahead.
No, we were going to do it, but it just never would have happened.
No, not even a bit.
And kids are supposed to get muddy, but this is excessive.
Yeah, and Patrick says kids get muddy when the dirt gets wet. It's okay for them.
Absolutely. And I'm a firm believer that kids need to play in the mud and stuff, but the problem is that it gets to the point where like I said, it's very excessive. And it's not just mud at that point. It's them coming in to the center,
right,
and smearing mud all down the walls and all over the lockers and all over the floor. And then because they have to walk down a hallway to get to their lockers,
a narrow hallway,
but then they're hitting everybody else's belongings along the way, because when you get a group of 14 to 16 2-year-olds that are covered head to toe with mud, they have no regard for anybody else's personal belongings.
None.
So it was just becoming excessive.
Oh, and the amount of labor that the women, it's just horrible. We just can't do it.
Yeah, no, and it was awful. Like we even had, like they would run into one of them went into the staff bathroom and it was smeared all over the door, all over the door frame, the floor. It's
such a mess. Oh my God. Yeah. So Chris Dixon says Lord of the Flies.
Yeah, it was really bad. And then of course, the girls, they're trying to corral the kids and get the kids stripped down and get them in their rooms and everything. So by the time they can find the time to go back to clean it,
it's crusted over, and then they're cleaning what should only take them a half hour turns into 3 hours, and it just wasn't fair. Makes it worse for the cleaner at night. So we're pretty stoked, and it's going to be so nice. We've upgraded some of the equipment. One thing that we've discovered is that there's really no reason to have fixed equipment in any of the daycares.
No, it puts our insurance right through the roof.
Through the roof. As soon as you affix a single item to the ground, that becomes a stationary playground instead of a play area.
And then your insurance triples.
Yeah. So we have discovered very quickly that everything we buy is like, what step 2, step 3 stuff?
Yeah.
Or what's the other one?
Little Tykes.
Little Tykes, yeah. And that works great. And it's safer because, as we know, even that stuff, kids can fall off of and break their arm like it happened. So
yeah, and I do have to get at South, once everything's done, I'm going to get them one of those big, like the low to the ground Little Tykes climbers that the other two centers have, but I didn't want to get them any larger toys like that because it's just more stuff for everybody to move around. So I was kind of waiting until it was done. But
it's going to look good. I'm pretty excited. I know they trimmed the tree out there today too, and it just, it was a place that it was an existing business with a former owner who had just lost all interest in it whatsoever.
Yeah, and a lot of things
just neglected. Things were neglected. There was no money spent on the upkeep at all over the last few years.
Nothing.
And, we inherited a pretty decent staff. We actually inherited an incredible staff who was just disillusioned with somebody who didn't treat them very well. And now they're all of a sudden, when they start getting treated properly and they see people are, holy shit, you're willing to spend money to make this a nice place. Well, it blows them out of the water.
Yeah. And you could tell they were so excited about everything.
Man, they were. Yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait to have that finished because, again, it was something we're like, well, we could do it over the May long weekend. Well, that didn't happen. We could do it over July 1st weekend. Well, that ain't going to happen.
And in our defense, it legitimately hasn't really stopped raining.
True. Yeah.
For the past month and a half. So
like been all kinds of buckets of climate change falling from the sky.
Yeah, we were supposed to have 10 millimeters of rain today and tomorrow, but I now think it's going to be all tomorrow.
Yeah.
So and then of course, and it's been cold.
Oh yeah.
Like so.
But beyond that, we've also had to tear walls out of the new daycare.
Well, yeah, but when the weather, usually when it's warm here in Provost, if we get rain, everything is dry in like 3 or 4 hours. But now, like, because it's been so cold, when it rains, like our backyard is still wet.
Right.
And it's been 3 days since it rained. Like we still have mud.
And it normally dries quick.
It's usually 2 or 3 hours.
Oh, max,
so like we can't win this year with anything like that.
It was nice enough though that I did get the pressure washer out.
Yep.
And man.
Yeah, but it's going to be muddy wet underneath the deck now for like 6 days. So it's like,
what's funny? I keep expanding this deck for you, which is great. I like it as much as you do. I'm not bitching about it. But I just realized this year when I got that pressure washer out, how much square footage of deck and stairs and everything that I had to pressure wash. There was a lot.
Yep.
But man, it turned out good.
You actually, I might get Curtis next weekend to go down to the daycare here in Provost and pressure wash everything. I know all the toys need to be washed.
That would be nice. Yeah. Absolutely. So Cabot Porter wants to know, what is cold this time of the year in Freedom units? So
last night it was 10 degrees, which would be what?
I don't know. Let's do the little conversion here. So 10 Celsius to Fahrenheit, 50 degrees.
It was 50.
It got 50 overnight, right? Yeah. It's been wasn't that long ago that there was a frost.
There was,
which is like it was like 33 degrees Fahrenheit.
And a couple nights ago it was like down to 4.
Yeah.
Which would be what?
Let's see. 39. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been unseasonably cold
and rainy.
And this was This is right after they started calling for the worst 10 mil. Oh, Patrick says 10 millimeters. Those little bastards disappear overnight. You said 10 millimeters of rain.
Yeah.
10 millimeter socket is the one that disappears for everybody. It's the joke. If you ever see, like, as soon as you open up a new package of sockets, a 10 millimeter
gone.
Yeah. John Willis sent me a meme the other day, or an Instagram reel that was to a company selling an entire socket set of just 10 millimeters. I thought it was pretty cool. So yeah. 10 millimeters of rain, which would be close to half an inch, right? And so I don't know. Beyond that, what's it been? What do you? Oh yeah,
I don't know. My phone's
buzzing. I think that might be our friend there that's doing the work for us, but they're okay.
No, it's a Provost number.
Oh,
that's what I wondered.
Well, go ahead and answer it if you want to go out, or you can. Yeah. All right. So, so she's gonna answer the phone while I'm on the live here, just to see what's going on, yes. And maybe just hang on here, guys. Maybe we get a live call for a missing dog. That would be really cool. I wouldn't mind that at all. But so if anybody's got any questions or anything you want to throw out there while we're doing this, this was not planned at all, but here we are.
I don't know where the United Church is.
Hang on just one second.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Oh, wait, a little.
Oh, maybe we are, guys. This is crazy. Sorry about this.
Yes. Okay, you okay, I have to go.
Okay.
Yes. I think yes, sorry.
Do you want me to come with you?
Yeah.
Well, guys, it sounds like, of all things, our little dog might have, that's the wrong one. Hang on, let me switch over to this one. It sounds like little Tilly might have just been found. Somebody just saw her by the railroad tracks. So we are going to go. I don't hate to leave you here. So thank you guys for having a great show with us tonight. What a crazy end to a show. So I'm going to run upstairs. I'm going to catch Becky. I appreciate the hell out of you dropping in for a Sunday night. Thank you very, very much for this. And as always, stay happy, stay healthy, and have a great week.
Hey guys, Toolman Tim here. Just wanted to add something to the very end. Number one, Tilly is home safe and sound. So thank you guys for hanging in with us that entire episode. It was great to have her back. I honestly didn't think we would see her again. So what a surprise. That was not planned at all. What a crazy episode, but we're glad to have her back. And secondly, after listening back to the audio, I need to apologize because it appears that the internal microphone from the webcam picked up the entire show last night instead of my high quality condenser microphone. So sorry about the subpar audio quality. There's really not much I can do to fix it, but it's not that bad, but definitely not up to my standards. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoy this. Thanks for sticking with us, and we're happy to have Tilly home.